Good evening and a happy new year. I'm going to call the executive committee meeting to order. And the first item on the agenda, after the roll, we have a quorum.
We do have a quorum. Everyone's here except Supervisor Shakur, who might be here
Alrighty.
shortly.
And then item number one is approval of the previous meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number two, ordinance number 2025-72 by individual supervisors, amending the Racine County Court of Ordinances, Article 2, Chapter 2, Article 2, Division 3 meetings, Section 2-89, recording, streaming, and retention of county board and committee meetings, and Sections 2-90 and 2-100 reserved. Supervisor Rossi, this would be your ordinance.
Thank you, Chairman. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to look through it. It's pretty straightforward on this one. There's some technicalities in the implementation that are defined in the ordinance, but really it's just a matter of now this would require streaming and then the storage or retention of all the meetings for a period of up to 10 years on county leased or, we do some contracting. So there's cloud storage, it could be county servers. But the idea being that primarily all meetings are streamed, so that would be committee meetings, board meetings, and that's really the gist of it. And the caveats are, of course, if there's technical difficulties, funding requirements for implementation of recording software or streaming software in certain rooms, that there are limitations on it. So it accounts for, the real world situations that someone could run into when trying to stream a meeting. I think that sums it up in a general sense. I do want to make one item or one change on this one, and if I could get my laptop to hurry up. I think it's section G that starts off with the county executive in coordination with the
County clerk.
I'd like to change that to the county clerk in coordination with the county executive and IT department. That's the only tweak I'd make at this point. Just being the clerk being the custodian of records, it makes more sense. And after consulting with two people on this one, they felt that was more appropriate.
I have a question for the county clerk. Retention of records. If we have streaming records, can we, what's the retention on a video or audio record?
I don't know. I'm going to have to defer that to Corporation Counsel.
7 years.
7 years? Okay, so 10 years. Are there any other questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that we have this draft. Does anybody know how much this is going to cost? Because we have staff, tonight we have 2 staff here at the county board meeting, and we have a lot of committees that have a lot of meetings. And while I'm for transparency, I am not sure that we need to record every committee meeting and keep it for, and it's, Supervisor Rossi, you said up to 10 years, but the actual wording is not less than 10 years. So that's a little different. And where is this going to be stored? If it goes, we originally were using Facebook, then we learned that did not have as much retention as we wanted. Now it's on YouTube, but we have no control over YouTube. So I think if it's going to be done, it should be internally stored, but I'm really concerned about the cost of that. And I can't support that until I get more information on how much this would actually cost.
Okay. Supervisor Rossi, you wanted to
Thank you.
add something?
I would like to say I thought about that in the retention portion of this. Myself, for example, I keep with triple redundancy at my own house what would be the equivalent, and I just looked at some of the recordings right now and the quality level on YouTube, and I can keep about 20 years of our data right now on my home server and associated network storage. Now, obviously, the county wouldn't be using something as rudimentary as what I have, but if I could do it for about $1,000, I'd imagine that we already have the systems in place to do this. We'd essentially be picking back onto existing storage systems. It's not that much to store videos of this nature. There's typically, you know, a lot more items that we're worried about storing on a county system. And I'm making an assumption there, but then again, I think it's more realistic that, you know, even if we do it with like a cloud system, um, I think about 5 terabits is going to get you through at least the first 3 years, being extremely, extremely conservative on that estimate. And the cost for that type of storage, I mean, even using something as basic as a Dropbox, that's somewhere around $200 a year, $300 a year. Now, the corporate side of that, maybe they're going to kick in another $200, $300, but this type of storage is not, you know, extravagant anymore as media files and um, you know, video, picture, audio, as they get more and more high definition, these files become massive. I'm not even asking for, you know, I'm not even setting a standard for, you know, we're not going to keep 4K video of all the meetings. Right now we're doing 1080, in some case 720p, which is, that's a very reasonable file size. Matter of fact, I think the last one that I exported from YouTube was somewhere around 60 megabits. So 60 megabits, 1,000 megabits make up 1 gigabit. So you can understand a terabit, which is a very common amount of storage. So if we're just looking at it graphically, I'm holding my hands up now. This being a terabit, we're talking about this for one video. I mean, the storage is just, it's very realistic now to store these types of things on, you know, servers that are housed in the county, or again, third party like a cloud service.
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Miller.
Yeah, thank you Supervisor Rossi. Very helpful, but I think I would like to see from our IT staff a cost estimate on all aspects of this. Supervisor Rossi has just given some good information about the reasonableness of storage, but you know, I would really like to hear a proposal from IT on where it's going to be stored, how many staff members or how much staff time they anticipate it's going to take to do this. Uh, I would invite, if she's willing, the county clerk to chime in, because I did speak with her, and I think her, well, I won't speak for her, but I think she anticipates much involvement of IT on this.
Robert, you got, since you're here.
This was coming, John and I did a little bit of research associated with what it would take to provide this solution. And Supervisor Rossi is correct. Our ability to have storage, especially with the new storage solution that we have, the storage really isn't the issue. I think it'll be more of the issue with what we plan to do with all of the tapings, right? So do we want to make it available on our website, right? We have to get our website provider to be able to do that. And it's also staffing associated with it to make sure that we're able to do this. We've also started conversations with our AV consultant to see what kind of automation that we can do. So it's really very doable. It just depends on the specifics of what we want to be able to try to do this, and if all committee meetings are included in this proposal.
Supervisor.
Again, good additional information, but I still want, I want some numbers. And I think it's going to take a little more time for that, and certainly willing to wait. But I think before we commit, we really should know how much this is going to cost.
Supervisor Spencer, did you have a question or comment?
Mine was just, and Supervisor Miller brought it up about staff. Does this mean we need 2 staff members at every single committee meeting, including like UW Extension? You know, these are questions we have to ask.
Okay.
We have to look at.
Vice Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of the questions I just had wondering too is how we're going to roll this out. Is this going to be something in phases? Is this going to be something all done at one time? Which kind of piggybacks onto Supervisor Miller's question as far as cost. How do we're putting this update of this ordinance in place, but we don't really have a plan of action, how we're going to get to there and how we're going to get it done is one of my questions. So if there's some format or some platform to this already, what we're thinking about doing, how we're going to do it and how we're going to implement it, that'd be good information to have.
Supervisor Caprellian?
Thank you. As Chair of Government Services, I've been streaming our committee meetings for years now. And not only have I been streaming them, we have been streaming our county board meetings. We're streaming our executive meeting. We streamed our committee of the whole meetings. And we've also had some other special meetings. So the structure is in place currently right now. So we're not starting from ground zero. We've already been doing it. And we're quite successful at it. The ordinance, as I see it, just simply extends what was proven to already work, but now it extends out to the committees. The IT director just confirmed that storage isn't the issue. The infrastructure is largely in place. We're not reinventing the wheel here. We're just formalizing best practices that are already producing results. I think citizens deserve to see the government in action, not just read it, whenever it may possibly come out. And I support this ordinance. And I'll just say this, I'd rather see us, let's say, how can we support this to get it going, to continue? I remember Jonathan, many of his last state of the counties, not just the last one, the time before that and the time before that, he kept throwing transparency in there. Transparency, transparency, transparency. This is more transparent. I mean, like I said, the infrastructure is in place. The one thing I want to bring for those who have been on for a while, and maybe it was just me digging, but I remember the IT department years ago. I had sat some time up on the 10th floor and was trained on how to put stuff up on my own county supervisory page, and they had encouraged it. So I think it was something that was put out to all of us. And then to give us then the tools instead of putting the burden on the IT, go ahead if you want to, whatever it may be, add your background, your bio, and then you can have access. And as the chair, maybe we need to think about instead of putting more stress on the IT department, empowering the chairs, the vice chairs, the secretaries too, if ultimately what it may be is like sometimes for government services meetings, if we can't get on and stream, but we can record it. And then we can upload it later. So if there's an issue, us as chairs, we can be trained having that additional responsibility just to turn something on. I don't know if IT's cringing at me right now, but they can always review it later. I'm just trying to find solutions rather than saying no. I think we really need to say yes to transparency. And granted, we have big questions and I didn't hear anybody say no. But to me, I don't see as many obstacles as maybe what people are believing in their head, but I might be a little generation who uses the computer every single day. So thank you.
County Clerk?
Also, I believe this is just meant to be for the county board standing committees, not all of the other extraneous committees that perhaps are posted to our website, like the UW Extension or the 980 or the Civil Service or some of those meeting agendas that you see come out. I believe this was really meant for those standing committees of the county board itself.
Supervisor Trottier?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am too in agreement with Supervisor Miller. As chair of the Finance Committee, I was always concerned about the additional cost and time of the staff that would have to come and initiate this. And I am for total transparency, no doubt about it. And I know that there is a process in place based on what Supervisor Caprillion has said and other times we have streamed. But I'd like to see what the commitment and time cost is of the staff prior to approving this ordinance. Thank you.
Question, Robert.
Mhm.
How long would it take you to work up a cost estimate based on our current schedule for staffing on this?
Not long at all, probably be about a week working with Wendy to understand the time and sequence of meetings, which is published, and then just understanding the manpower associated with being able to get those streamed. We also need to be able to get a location where we have cameras. I think this building counts. So it would probably take me about a week, maybe two at most.
Supervisor Rossi?
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to speak to the limitations that some of the supervisors had mentioned. If there is the inability to stream, that's addressed in here, where then the meeting would be recorded and then uploaded afterwards. So if there are limitations on the location, availability of staff, those caveats are already listed within. Vice Chair Meyer, excuse me, I believe your concern was about. Sorry, I was trying to keep track and I was having laptop issues. I was starting it up. What was your concern? I'm sorry.
My concern is if we have a platform, how are we gonna roll this out now? Yes, we do stream county board meetings, yes. But as far as the committee meetings and staff meetings, whether it's Public Works or Health and Human Development, my concern is we have an additional staff or additional time. Do we have the people that can do it or are willing to do it? How does that work? And then what is the cost of that for going forward? And then is this going to be, is this stuff we're gonna do, ongoing forever? Or is this, how soon will we roll this out is my other question.
Thank you. The answer to that is this defines the streaming platform, so the designated streaming platform. So right now that would be YouTube. That's what we're already using. The process for streaming to YouTube for just myself is pretty straightforward with just the laptop. So it's really just a matter of understanding the county systems, so the AV system of the room, and then patching that into the YouTube streaming system. So it's literally at that point, after you've connected the hardware, turn the hardware on. Correct me if I'm wrong at any point here, Robert. But connecting the hardware to the laptop and then engaging the streaming system via the interface on YouTube. So it's pretty straightforward. Now, again, I'm not doing it. They're the ones actually doing it. Maybe my interface with these systems is different than what the county is seeing. But the world right now is moving towards these streaming systems. So this isn't as complicated as what it was, 8 years ago when you tried to stream something and you had to, there's a lot of network protocols that had to be worked out. This is a much easier thing to do than most people would assume. Thank you.
Supervisor Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, as I said originally, thanks to Supervisor Rossi for bringing this to us. I'm definitely in favor of transparency. I just want us to know the details of, and I appreciate Vice Chairman Meyer's comments too of, how's this going to roll out? And it seems I don't think there are many obstacles. It's just that we need a little more information.
Yeah, I tend to agree that it's a good ordinance. It has the transparency. And I believe we have to do the due diligence on the costs, if there's staffing, or how it will roll, and also how it rolls out. Because if we roll it out and we're capable of doing it as county board chairman and vice chairman without staff members there, of course, that's a little bit different cost than if we have to staff it. And I think that we're to the point where maybe Robert should come back, once in about a month and tell us what he thinks and how it would work in the little bit of, how much the cost, how
Yeah,
we
we've
can
done-
roll it out.
Absolutely. We've done preliminary work on it, and I mean, Supervisor Rossi is correct. This is something that's pretty easy. We're already kind of doing it. I just need to know the details, so that way I can put a cost associated with it.
I was being generous, 2 weeks.
2 weeks would be fine.
Okay.
Chair,
Supervisor Wishaw.
thank you, sir. Just a quick question, as it relates to the staffing, concern. Do you really need additional staff for this? I mean, we already have a staff member present at these committee meetings. I mean, is this something as simple as just training that staff member to plug and play? And then we move forward?
No, that's what I asked Robert to come back with. What, I mean, obviously, different capabilities on different people.
Right.
No,
I'll just say we've been doing this for 6 years now in Burlington School District, and we've not had any issues.
so
Been pretty straightforward.
Supervisor Rossi.
Thank you, Chairman. Since we've got Robert here right now,
Mhm.
one thing I'd just like to say, I'm thinking it really would just be a matter of YouTube would be the primary source of storing videos, and then the localized, retention would be then just exporting or downloading the YouTube video. It's pretty much that straightforward.
Yeah, it's very similar. We also need to know if we want to serve it off of our website, just in case we want to control it, or we want to have YouTube be the owner of that. But then we're liable to the terms and conditions that YouTube changes, and if they change it, then we may lose that information. If this really is an ordinance where we want to keep it, I'd rather keep it in-house and then find a way to serve it up either through YouTube or through our website. None of this is not hard. It's just those details will matter depending on the extra steps that we have to take.
And the intent of the ordinance is to, the public face or the public interface for these streams and then the retained videos would be YouTube. The county side retention is really more so of a backup system where if there were a failure on the YouTube end for whatever reason, they change their terms, they somehow have a loss, a system loss, which I've never seen on YouTube's end so far. But then we would have time then to look at how the county would engage, and restore, the availabilities of the availability of these saved meetings.
Yeah, that's correct. It's just understanding those little nuances to be able to give a really good, clear understanding of the costs associated with it. But as you mentioned, this is tried and true technology, and I don't see very many barriers to it.
Any further questions? Supervisor Shakur.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have a question, but I would, if I may, move to defer this for 2 weeks.
We have a motion to defer this for 2 weeks till the next meeting on the 27th. Is there any questions or comments about that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? See you in 2 weeks, Robert. Item number 3, adjournment. We are adjourned. Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to call the January 13th County Board meeting to order. If the clerk could call the roll.
Supervisors Kelly, Nielsen, and Price Guerrero excused. Everyone else is here.
As customary, we have an opening prayer, and it's going to be led tonight by Supervisor Wish.
Good evening, everyone. Lord, please guide our decisions, help us work in harmony, and open us to hearing from one another. Help us see and understand issues which face our constituency with clarity and charity. And Lord, please protect our first responders. Amen.
Amen. The pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 4 on the agenda is public comments pursuant to section 2-71 of the Racine County Code of Ordinances. Each speaker will be allotted 3 minutes. Vice Chairman Meyer will be the timekeeper. He'll give you a rundown as you close to your time. We have one person who's registered to speak tonight, and it's Keith Fair. So if you want to come up to the podium here. Keith? Give us your name and address.
First name is Keith, last name Fair, 1141 Valley View Drive, Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin. And I am here to address the county board on the issues of the incident that happened at the Juvenile Detention Center on or about May the 27th of 2025. The public, we believe, has the right to know transparency, accountability, and these things have not been demonstrated by this legislative body. Before me, I have a petition, and hopefully I won't have to file it. But what we're asking for as a community, the lack of transparency is there, and the reasonable belief that crimes may have been committed. Crimes such as physical abuse of a child, battery or excessive use of force, abuse or mistreatment of a person in custody, and misconduct in public office. Hopefully, this county board would see fit to give this community transparency and fairness. Lastly, I'd like to say that through this incident, there's several questions or numerous questions that need to be answered. Those questions are pertaining to why is it that one person gets terminated and the other 3 get a chance to stay employed when they were participating in the incident, and why were they continuously allowed to stay on its same capacity in the same facility as the young man that was beaten. Once again, transparency is the key, accountability is the key, and one major question. The incident happened on May the 27th of 2025. The public didn't find out until December the 7th, December the 8th from WTMJ4. That's problematic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other people that want to come forward and have a public comment? Okay, we're going on to item number 5. Reading of the minutes of the previous meeting, which is automatically waived unless requested by a majority of the members present. Seeing no objections, I'm going to go to number 6, resolutions and ordinances referred to committee.
Ordinance number 2025-72 by individual supervisors amending the Racine County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Article 2, Division 3 meetings, Section 2-89, recording, streaming, and retention of county board and committee meetings, and Sections 2-90 to 2-100 reserved was referred to the Executive Committee.
Item number 7, introduction of resolutions and ordinance for first reading and referral.
Resolution number 2025-73 by Public Works, Parks, and Facilities Committee authorizing acquisition of right-of-way for a highway improvement project on County Trunk Highway C in the Village of Mount Pleasant. Ordinance number 2025-74 by Finance and Human Resources Committee amending the Racine County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Article 3, Division 4, Settlement of Workers' Compensation Claims. Resolution number 2025-75 by Finance and Human Resources Committee authorizing a 3-year agreement from 2026 through 2028 with Honeywell Building Solutions for service and maintenance of building door access control system at Jonathan Delagrave Youth Development and Care Center for a total of $82,572.78. Resolution number 2025-76 by Finance and Human Resources Committee authorizing a 5-year agreement from 2026 through 2030 with Spectrum for internet services at the Rochester Highway Department shop location for a total of $11,400. Resolution number 2025-77 by Finance and Human Resources Committee authorizing a memorandum of understanding with the town of Norway for use of 2 empty bays at the Wind Lake Fire Station number 2 with share of 2/3 of the utility costs from February 1st, 2026 through January 1st, 2027, and use of sufficient funds within the capital 2026 budget. Resolution number 2025-78 by Public Works, Parks, and Facilities Committee authorizing application and acceptance of outdoor recreation trail aids, county snowmobile trail aids funding through the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources in the amount of $49,311 and transfer of funds within the Parks 2026 budget. And resolution number 2025-79 by Public Works, Parks, and Facilities Committee in support of the Racine County Trail Crossings Planning Project.
Item number 8, communications and claims.
Number 1, resolution supporting the renewal of the Knowles Nelson Stewardship Fund from Winnebago, Marathon, Outagamie, and Green Lake counties and the city of Wausau. Number 2, resolution authorizing Washington County's withdrawal from Southeastern Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission, known as SewerPAC, from Washington County. Number 3, notice of public hearing regarding the proposed MMSD rules, Chapter 11, discharge regulations and enforcement procedures from the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District. Number 4, request for information for a determination of the adequacy of warning devices in the exemption of 9 public crossings of the Union Pacific Railroad Company tracks in multiple counties and for a determination of the adequacy of warning devices of the Union Pacific Railroad Company tracks with U.S. Highway 14 in the city of Janesville, Rock County from the Office of the Commissioner of Railroads. Number 5, State Trunk Highway Map System for Racine County from the Division of Transportation Infrastructure Development. And number 6, investigation on the Commission's own motion to review aggregation of retail customers to form demand response load reduction resources from the Public Service Commission.
Items number 1 through 6 are referred to the Economic Development and Land Use Planning Committee.
Number 7, Racine County Facilities Management Notable Project Status Report for the month of December 2025.
Item number 7 is referred to the Public Works, Parks, and Facilities Committee.
Number 8, memo regarding the Meals on Wheels delayed enrollment for 2026 from the Human Services Director, Hope Otto. And number 9, announcement of the openings of fiscal year 2026 to 2027 telemedicine equipment grant cycle from the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin.
Items number 8 through 9 are referred to the Health and Human Development Committee.
Number 10 is a claim against the county. Number 11 is a foreclosure of mortgage. And numbers 12 through 41 are notifications from the United States Bankruptcy Court.
Items number 10 through 41 are referred to Finance and Human Resources Committee and Corporation Council.
Supervisor Wishaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to request copies of 1, 2, and 5, please.
Supervisor Horth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to request copies, please, of 1 through 7.
Supervisor Kolb.
Copies of 2 and 5.
Supervisor Coleman.
Chairman, 1, 6, and 10, please.
1, 6, and 10?
Yep.
Supervisor Trotter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 1, 2, 5, and 10.
Supervisor McReynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Copies of 5 and 10, please.
Supervisor Hoffman.
Copies of 1 and 10, please.
Supervisor Spencer.
2, 5, and 8, please.
Supervisor Krowski.
Copies of 1, 3, and 5, please.
Supervisor Ferrant.
Thank you, Supervisor. Copies 1 through 6, please.
Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. Copies of 3, 5, and 10, please.
And then I would like 2 and 10. Any further requests? Seeing none, we're going to move on. Communications, item number 9, communications from the county executive.
Report number 2025-51 by County Executive making appointments to the Local Emergency Planning Committee was referred to the Government Services Committee.
Supervisor Caprellian.
Government Services has yet to meet, so if we could ask for deferment on this one.
Well, granted.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
Report number 2025-53 by County Executive making appointment to the Racine County Board of Health was referred to the Health and Human Development Committee.
Supervisor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In order to expedite this, I would like to ask the Health and Human Development Committee to make a recommendation tonight to the full county board. And I will read the report so the public knows what we're talking about. It's a report by the county executive making an appointment to the Racine County Board of Health. A vacancy exists on that body in the role of the medical advisor. This role was previously held by the late Dr. Mark DeCheck. To fill this vacancy, I hereby appoint for a term expiring on December 31st, 2030, Dr. Margaret Hennessy. Dr. Hennessy has been a practicing pediatrician since 1999 and has served the Racine community throughout her entire career at Ascension All Saints. She has been a longstanding partner to the Racine County Public Health Division, contributing her expertise to the Fetal, Infant, and Child Death Review Team, as well as the Home Visiting Stakeholders Group. In addition to her clinical work, Dr. Hennessy provides immunization guidance through her roles with Ascension Healthcare, Wisconsin Council on Immunization Practices, and Immunize Wisconsin. Her dedication to improving the health and well-being of Racine County residents aligns closely with the goals of both the Public Health Division and Racine County. She looks forward to continuing her service and collaboration as a member of the Racine County Board of Health. I ask you to confirm this appointment. Sincerely, Ralph Malicki, County Executive. What is the pleasure of the committee?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to recommend confirmation. Any discussion from the committee? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Committee does recommend, and so I would move to the full county board that this nomination be approved.
We have a motion and a second to make the appointment to the Health Department Committee or the Health Board. Are there any questions or comments? It's a majority vote, voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion is carried.
Next, we have report number 2025-55 by County Executive making an appointment to the Veterans Service Commission.
That's referred to Health and Human Development Committee. Item number 10, standing committee reports containing recommendations on items referred.
There are no reports.
Item number 11, second reading of resolutions and ordinances.
Under majority vote, we have ordinance number 2025-70 by Finance and Human Resources Committee amending the Racine County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Article 5, Division 2 Departments.
Supervisor Trotter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 2025, requiring a voice majority vote, pertains to the amending the ordinance just stated by the county clerk At our FHR meeting, this was approved unanimously. I have Attorney Michael Lansdorf and Director Sarah Street here to make comments about this change.
Yes. Got a motion to adopt? We have a motion and a second. Is the Corp Counsel going to start us off?
Sure. Thank you, Mr.
Right.
Chairman, and good evening. So the ordinance modifications before the board this evening fall generally into what I would characterize as two categories. The first category is largely housekeeping. The board will recall that in the course of the 2026 budget authorization, unfunded positions were effectively eliminated. So that included the chief of staff, which has for several years been unfunded, the diversity officer position, which has been unfunded. And so to reflect that these positions are no longer authorized, the ordinance has been modified to strike references to those positions. Similarly, you'll note that at section 266, that was modified several years ago to reflect that UW Extension falls under the direction and supervision of the Human Services Department. That's what's reflected in the duly authorized budget as well. However, we noted in the course of this cleanup that section 276 had not been changed to reflect the same. It reflected the old model where that was part of the, I believe it was the county executive or within the chief of staff. There was a culture affairs group. And so that has been modified. So that's what I would characterize as the housekeeping portion of this ordinance. The other more substantive provision of the ordinance deals specifically with facilities management. If authorized, it would return the facilities management division from Corporation Council, where it presently sits, to the Public Works, Parks and Facilities, and Development Services division or department where it had previously rested. Some of you may recall that it was in the course of the 2020 budget that the facilities management, then known as buildings and facilities, was moved from the Public Works Department, where it had long been seated, to Corporation Council. There were some operational challenges facing that division. Staffing was a real challenge, and it was made all the more difficult because Public Works is housed in an entirely different building from buildings and facilities or facilities management. Corporation Council then and now worked and continues to work very closely with facilities management. They deal extensively with risk management, contracts, things of the like, things that have legal implications and very much fall within the purview of Corporation Council. And while we're very proud of a lot of the gains of that division, it is always, something that can be improved, as all departments can. And so in the course of the 2026 budget, many of you will remember that it kind of presented itself as even more of a challenge with Corporation Council. It's tough, wearing the Corporation Council hat while also overseeing a division that can be subject to scrutiny. And so partly with that in mind, but also the county executive highlighted this as something very early in his term that he wanted to eventually return. Racine County, to my knowledge, is the only county in the state where Corporation Council oversees facilities management. I don't know any of my counterparts who oversee a facilities management department, and probably for good reason. So with all of that in mind, while I expect that the Corporation Council, if approved, would continue to work very closely with facilities management, if authorized, this ordinance would be modified to return it back to Public Works, would be supervised and overseen by the Public Works Department. We have tremendous teams in place, both within Public Works under the leadership of Director Boehm, and within facilities management under the supervision of new superintendent Mike Elzinga, that I have every confidence that they continue to operate at a very high level and hopefully see further improvement. So with that, I'm happy to address any questions.
Are there any questions, comments? Director Street, did you have any comments on this? No? Seeing none, we have a motion put forward. It's a voice majority vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Ordinance is passed.
Now our group of 2/3 majority vote would be resolution number 2025-65 by Finance and Human Resources Committee authorizing the acceptance of Community Policing Development Microgrant in the amount of $169,600 and transfer of funds within the Sheriff's Office 2026 budget. Resolution number 2025-66 by Finance and Human Resources Committee authorizing the elimination of 1 FTE Support Services Coordinator N126 and 2 FTE Youth and Family Case Manager N125. Creation of 1 FTE Youth and Family Services Supervisor E060 and 1 FTE Youth and Family Lead Case Manager N126 effective January 24th, 2026, and transfer of $71,452 within the Human Services 2026 budget. Resolution number 2025-67 by Finance and Human Resources Committee authorizing the acceptance of Wisconsin Department of Health Services grant in the amount of $187,500 and transfer funds within the Public Health 2026 budget. Resolution number 2025-68 by Finance and Human Resources Committee authorizing the acceptance of a national network of public health institutes data modernization and medical legal death investigation offices grant in the amount of $19,984 and transfer funds within the medical examiner 2025 budget. Resolution number 2025-69 by Finance and Human Resources Committee authorizing a fee schedule change for environmental health lodging fees due to the revision of State Administrative Rule ATCP 72. And resolution number 2025-71 by Finance and Human Resources Committee authorizing a tentative agreement between Racine County and the Racine County Deputy Sheriff's Association for the years of 2025 through 2028.
For adoption, Mr. Chairman. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Supervisor Trotter.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am requesting special consideration for Resolution 2025-71 from the board. And I'd like to group together the remaining 2025-65, 66, 67, 68.
Why don't we start with
69.
2025-65?
65, we'll start there. This pertains to a grant of $169,600 from the Department of Justice. The grant is for equipment, is an investment in Racine County's public safety strategies and long-term capacity to prevent and respond to violent crimes through technology and evidence-based information. I have Captain Evans here to continue the discussion. This runs from 10/1 of 25, so we're 3 months behind. No, this was not on behalf of our Sheriff's Department. It took a while for the Department of Justice to get it to us. And it runs through 9/30 of 27. Questions for Captain Evans?
That is the right sound.
It's a beautiful sound.
Supervisor Horth.
Thank you, Captain Evans. Yeah, I think you can probably somewhat anticipate my question. I'm assuming that these funds were properly earmarked in the 2026 budget, considering that years or that portion of this total cost. Is that correct?
This is a new software and some hardware that's part of a grant that's a non-match fund, so it's not even part of the budget.
Yeah.
This is all non-match grant funding that's just additional. So to offset any additional questions, it's also something at the end of the contract term, I have been very, very clear with the vendor. I want to be able to just walk away. If I can't refund it through grant, I can just walk away from it.
So if I see rounding off 170,000, let's just call this $85,000 a year. Is that a new expense to the 26 budget that wasn't there, or is the grant going to subsidize all of that?
The grant's subsidizing everything.
Thank you.
Yep.
Supervisor Spencer.
Hi. I'm asking if you would just specify a little bit more about the community policing development part of it.
So
Specify a little more about.
what exact portion are you asking? Community policing is a massive thing that we use. It's a huge grant funding source that the DOJ puts out that allows us different access to funding, both from personnel standpoints to technology and others that we utilize in order to try to reduce violent crimes and other crimes within our community. As we know, all crimes in our community nowadays involve some form of technology. I've been in front of this board several times recently talking about this, right? This is this company creates some of the tools that we use to process that ginormous amount of data in a more efficient and rapid way so that we can bring faster case resolution. Sometimes so we can even get resolution.
Any further questions?
What is the technology exactly?
Supervisor Coleman.
Sorry. Look, I was just looking at him and I just felt it. Sorry.
It's
So-
okay.
So what is the technology, part of it?
So
Yes.
this technology is called Pathfinder through Cellbrite. What this does is it compares the data that we have in a case to look for crosses that we wouldn't see easily or that would take us hours, weeks, months, however long to go through that crazy amount of data. Your phone on your desk is 128 gigabytes. If you've ever downloaded that just to like move your pictures from your phone to your computer and then to try to go back and find the photos, it's very complex, right? Now imagine text messages, voice messages, notes and everything else nefarious that somebody might hide in their phone for part of their criminal dealings. And we need to be able to rapidly get to those very specific, very granular things and connect that maybe between a network of people. Often people don't commit crimes in silos. This allows us to make those connections rapidly using technology.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Supervisor Trotter.
And just a note here, the equipment is what we are obtaining through the grant. Celebrate Guardian, which is a licensing and onboarding for 47,500. And Celebrate Pathfinder is licensing and server infrastructure for 122,100.
I could inject here.
Okay.
That was what we wrote the grant for. There's potentially and likely going to be modifications to the grant. I've already talked with the grant administrator. They're okay with our modifications. The problem being, if I were to go with Guardian, I create something that our team is going to have to ingest data into, and we would have to have that in perpetuity. I can't rightly come before you without a funding way to pay for that and say, now I want to use this and use it in perpetuity. So we moved back from that. I increased in another side of this. So right now, what we're asking for is just to accept the grant. I'll come back to you with the contract and I'll explain all the details of the contract, but we're leaning heavier on the side of Pathfinder. So it'll be more on one side, but you are correct in stating that this does buy a server. This does cover all of the costs for the server and the setup, and it covers all the costs of the software.
Thank you.
Supervisor Coleman.
Is there kind of a plan once you implement this of kind of trying to keep track of how much time and efficiency this brings you versus, hey, we got this and sped us up and everything's grand?
I'm going to have to spend some time thinking about if there's a way I can report that back cleanly. So I do foresee us being able to say that the discoveries that were there were quicker, but to be able to clearly articulate that I found the needle in the haystack faster than I would have found it before it's hard to say, right? I mean, you just don't know when you'd find the needle. Maybe I would have found it when I first started looking, or maybe it would take me longer. But what I can say over the course of using it for these 2 years, I should be able to tell you that we're consistently seeing faster turnarounds, or we're seeing cases that are spreading further, and we're either preventing more victimization or we're getting more resolution to more cases. So I think we're going to be able to have articulable stories for you. How I'm going to be able to put that into a data set, I'm not positive, but let me spend some time thinking about it.
So if you, just an idea of, like, if you can take a couple where you get a phone, give it to an officer, have him go through, see how long it takes, and then put it in
I wish it was
How
that
long?
simple. They're just, nothing's apples to apples.
Okay.
You know, I mean, it's an idea and we can talk about it. I'm not sure. I'd like to get you something that is reasonable that I can stand behind. Let me think about it a little bit.
Any further questions? Supervisor Trotter, Resolution 2025-66.
66, thank you, Captain Evans. That addresses several staffing adjustments to streamline operations and enhance service delivery in our child welfare program. And it's due to the creation of the Wellness Connect that these changes will provide necessary leadership and oversight and support staff retention. So changes have been made for the Wellness Connect program. And I have Jeff Langley here to address any questions about these changes in staffing.
Good evening, Jeff.
Good evening. Were there any questions right off the bat?
Supervisor Horth.
Thank you. Yeah, Jeff, just one question. The budget got completed 2 months ago. And we're now asking for there to be some changes in something. Didn't we anticipate this when we did the budgeting process?
Yeah, so I can address that. When the budget process was ongoing, this was caught, this should have been in the budget request for 2026. This was an oversight and it got caught, but it was too late. Everything had been printed. And so it was talked about that we would just come back and amend this after the budget.
Okay, I appreciate your honesty on that. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Miller.
Yeah, maybe if Jeff could just give a brief overview about the impact of the changes.
Sure. So through the budget process, Youth and Family, I'm speaking on behalf of Steve Bedwell tonight and Hope. Youth and Family and Behavioral Health Services collaborated to create the Wellness Connect initiative, which meant moving some positions from Youth and Family over to BHS and streamlining things. What happened was through that process, it left vacant a supervisor position. It left about 10 employees unsupervised essentially. And so what we wanted to do is convert the support services coordinator to the supervisor. And then also we're going to streamline 2 youth and family case managers down to a lead position. So a net decrease of 1.0 FTE in that area. And by doing that, that'll allow that lead person to engage in more staff development and support and training and find some efficiencies that way and free up about $64,000.
Any questions? Thank you, Jeff.
Stay up there, Jeff.
Resolution 2025-67 here.
Yes, and this pertains to the grant of 187,500 obtained from DHS commencing 1/1 of 26 through 12/31 of 26. The initiative will help deliver comprehensive trauma-informed education and capacity building across maternal and family support systems. So this will be used amongst a couple of different departments, I believe Jeff's area as well as Hope's area, to help specifically strengthen provider capacity to address and prevent substance misuse and related risk factors, expand education on risk factors for substance misuse, build capacity among home visitors and social workers with populations at risk for substance misuse, and increase awareness of the local resources for prevention and support. Any questions from Jeff?
Like to make a comment on that, Jeff?
Sure. So this funding is federal funding from SAMHSA. And it's coming from a pot of money within the SAMHSA, which usually pays for treatment and substance abuse support. This particular pot of money is specific for prevention and prevention only. So they do not allow us to use this for any treatment, for any screening. This is purely to strengthen capacity and work the upstream factors of substance abuse. So very, very infrequently do we see funding come along that encourages that upfront, down or upstream support of people before they end up struggling with addiction. So it's a unique funding opportunity for us. The grant starts January 1st, a couple weeks ago. We actually do not have the contract yet from Department of Health Services, but it does look pretty good as far as the funding coming. So we'll hit the ground running if approved.
Could you give an example of a program that might?
Yeah, so one of the things we're going to do is work, one thing that Hope, Director Otto really wanted to see within the, Human Services Department is more collaboration between the different divisions. And so this grant will provide the Public Health Division the opportunity to be the lead on the grant, but also work with Youth and Family and Behavioral Health Services to provide training with our partners from University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee to better equip and support frontline personnel who are taking phone calls from the public so that they are better equipped to identify need, make referrals, do it in a compassionate way, and do it in a way that's responsive to the community. We'll also work with, there are different components to this grant, and we'll be working with other providers in the community as well to remind and refresh people what these upstream risk factors are for substance abuse, how to easily identify them, and what to do about it. And that way we can get ideally people into treatment quicker, earlier, and have better outcomes that way.
Supervisor Horth?
Yes, thank you, Jeff. So again, this grant is for $187,000 and it has not, we haven't received the commitment yet. You're in the process of completing the paperwork, is that correct?
Correct. We received the commitment that we received is a notice of award. That original notice of award was for $250,000. That was the original application amount. The state decided to fund an additional grantee, so they reduced everybody's award to 187.5. The state is committed to funding this project. They're just waiting for the funds from the federal government.
So I would presume that none of these funds are currently being spent or are not going to be spent until that is actually received or approved.
That is 100% accurate.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Resolution 2025-68.
68 approved unanimously by the FHR committee on 12/3 of 25, a grant of $19,984 from the National Network of Public Health to modernize and address technology needs for our Racine County Medical Examiner. This will involve the purchase of laptops for our deputy medical examiners, necessary maintenance and upgrades to the daily operations that need to be done. These are used for investigations by the medical examiner. $19,984 in the form of a grant. Questions of Jeff?
I don't think there's much to say about this.
Nope.
One-time funding.
One-time funding.
Thank you.
Resolution number 2025-69.
Okay, this relates to a new state mandate changes based on ATCP 72, specifically related to licensing and specialty lodging. It's believed that this came about with all the Airbnbs that are now out there. And it may have come from the lobbyists, from the hotel, motel individuals, as I look over at one of my fellow county board supervisors smiling. So, yeah, these are the changes that have been made and these will be implemented, I believe now, correct, Jeff?
That is correct. They take effect on January 27th, I believe. Don't quote me on that. It's right at the end of January. That we will put them in effect with our new licensing year, which would start for establishments looking for a new license anytime after April. And then again, commencing with our normal licensing year, which is July to June. These fees, we would have put in the 2026 budget. This legislative change came after the county had deliberated on budget. So this came literally probably a week after the county approved the budget. So we had to come back we apologize for having to come back to you nothing we could do about that.
So Jeff, with Airbnbs, they're being inspected by you now.
Correct.
And this would be the fee. And I know I've been at a meeting maybe a year and a half ago or 2 years where you have a company that lists the Airbnbs in Racine County.
We do.
Yeah, why don't you give a little background on that real
So
quick?
Airbnbs are also in code known as tourist rooming houses. So Airbnb, Vrbo, that kind of thing. And they're somewhat unique in that if you wanted to find out if a hotel was operating in your jurisdiction, you could go to a hotel's website and it would have their address. We would know that's in our jurisdiction. We should reach out, make sure they're licensed appropriately. Airbnbs and temporary or tourist rooming houses do not operate that way. You don't get the address until you purchase the rental. So there was a company through a budget decision, I think 2 years ago, the county purchased its proprietary software from a company, it's Granicus, I think same company that hosts our website, as a matter of fact. They have proprietary software that basically combs the internet and can provide municipalities a list of currently operating tourist rooming houses in their jurisdiction. The advantage of doing that is making sure that these are meeting basic safety and sanitation standards. Two, there is tax revenue that's collected in room tax, I believe it's called. So that money is not being collected when tourist rooming houses are not being licensed or have been identified unless they're doing it proactively on their own. So this creates an accountability process where we have safe, healthy places for people to stay. The room tax is being collected and distributed to Visit Racine helps us with that because I believe they're the ones who actually collect that, and it gets distributed to the municipalities. So it's a win for the tourist rooming house. They can say, we're licensed, we're good to go. Win for the municipalities, and win for public health. We can get in there and do our job.
Any questions? Supervisor Wish.
The website, thank you, Mr. Chairman, the website that we're using to find out who's an Airbnb, how often is it updated?
It's updated constantly, and we have to renew with them annually. And the fee for that gets split with City of Racine because some of that data goes to their health department so they can license their temporary tourist rooming houses. Visit Racine chips in about $2,000, and the county covers about $8,000.
You have any idea how many there are?
Oh, I don't have that off the top of my head. I believe we licensed last year around 70, between 70 and 80 in our jurisdiction alone. That excludes the city.
Are we contacting them or are they required to contact you?
We're contacting them as we learn about them, and then we send a introductory letter to those establishments and ask them to reach out. Most do. Those who don't, we do a follow-up and then try to get a visit, an inspection scheduled.
Supervisor Kolb.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are we anticipating that the tax revenue and the fees are going to offset the expense of the inspections on this?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that. So I'll go into our philosophy that we've had since before we were with the county and since we've been with the county as the Racine County Public Health Division has always been that the environmental health program for licensing of establishments, food, hotel, motel, pools, that is a shared responsibility. And so the fees do not cover 100% of the cost of an inspection. It's about half. And through our agreement with the Department of Agriculture, Trade and Consumer Protection, we're required to outline how we come up with our fees, what percentage of the program it pays for. Some counties put 100% of the environmental health program on the licensed establishments. I think Eau Claire County might be one of those counties off the top of my head. So that would mean if you look at our fees, they would need to nearly double to probably cover the cost of the program. There's a public good that, a licensed establishment they're making money, they're making a profit, but they're also providing a service to customers. We're there to make sure they can, we're there to partner with them and help them do things safely. And we think that there's a shared good for the public that the environmental health program be paid for by a combination of licensing fees and the tax dollars. So about half.
Supervisor Spencer?
Yeah, hi. Help me out here. So you get a list or you go to a website and check it occasionally and then you find where,
The service we paid for, their proprietary software combs the internet and provides us a list.
okay,
So we download it off of their
okay.
server, and it gives us the address, the municipality, contact information, who the owner is. So some of the Airbnbs or tourist rooming houses are owned by people living out of state. So we would send our letter to the owner, not the person renting the unit, obviously.
So as county board supervisors, can we get copies of that list, say every 6 months or something so that we are aware of the Airbnbs and the tourist rooming houses in our districts?
Yep.
Thank you.
I'll make a note of that.
Supervisor Horth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Really for all board supervisors too, I'm actually encouraged by this move and would offer that while Jeff, I know this adds another level of administration that you're responsible for, it also goes a long way toward potentially protecting our county because unfortunately, the facilities that are being used for these transient stays, if you will, the Airbnb is not, it's almost being used like the term Xerox now, but because it's not just Airbnb, there's a whole series of them out there. Unfortunately, they have not been living up to that end of the responsibility as well as they probably should have, protecting the interest of their visitors. So I'm encouraged by it. I would say this though, and I don't know the process of this and we can consider this in the future, but to me, if there's an inspection being done by the county on behalf of that facility to approve them, I'm not so sure why they aren't responsible to have to pay for that. Simply because they want to go ahead and rent it out, they're going to. And that's just the fee of the price of a business license, just like anybody else would be getting charged. So not for tonight, but certainly something I would be interested in furthering the dialogue on for consideration. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any further questions or comments? So this is a 2/3 majority vote.
Thank you.
And set us up.
Technology.
I'm pretty sure it's unanimous, but I can't see the number. I think they're working on it at the very bottom. I think, there you go.
18, yeah.
Yep, all in favor. All right, and then our last item, which was asked for separate consideration, is that resolution number 2025-71.
Supervisor Trotter.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a tentative memorandum of understanding between our Racine County Sheriff's Department and Racine County and the village of Sturtevant. I'd like Deputy Chief Widener to come up and go over some of the details of that MOU, please.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, I believe,
This is,
yeah, resolution 2025-71 is for the Racine County Deputies.
association contract.
I'm sorry. Is there somebody here for this?
Supervisors, or
Excuse me. my
Director
mistake.
Street and Chief
Thank you.
Deputy Widener.
Hello, good evening. This has been a very long process, so I'm happy to be here tonight that we were able to come to an agreement. This has been ongoing for a year, actually to the date. I looked at our initial meeting that we had to get the County Executive Malecki up to speed, and it was a year ago today. The county executive really had two guiding goals for this contract, and it was for fairness of both sides and also fiscal responsibility. And this agreement reflects a balanced approach, recognizing the essential and demanding work of our deputies while ensuring long-term financial stability for the county. We feel this contract is competitive, and it reflects our current market conditions and aligns Racine County with comparable counties in our region. We also believe this contract will assist us with retention and recruitment of other deputies in the region. If you'd like to add anything or.
No, as Director Street stated, this process has been going on for about a year. I feel that both sides have really come together from the county as well as the Deputies Association to really establish a very equitable contract.
Are there any questions? All right. Any other questions? Okay.
I need a refresher.
Oh,
Yeah,
Supervisor Coleman, I couldn't see.
sorry. Yeah, I need a refresher about this, what the agreement and all this stuff.
Sure. So the deputies and the command staff of the sheriff's office are under a union. So we do have to negotiate a contract with them. The terms of this contract are for 4 years, although it'll be retroactive to 2025. So at the end of each contract, we have to come together, both management side, so myself, Attorney Lansdorf, Ralph Malicki, and Chief Deputy Widener. And then also the Deputies Association has a group of leadership as well that's on the bargaining team for them. So we come together, we exchange proposals and come to an agreement. So that's what you see before you is the new agreement.
Any further questions? Supervisor Horth.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. And I'm sorry if I start to sound like the broken record, but my question is simple. The contract that is tentatively being agreed to, were the amount of the expenses that were anticipated in this year's budget properly reflected to show the numbers in that contract?
Yes. So for 2025, a 2.5% increase was incorporated into the budget. And for 2026, the 4% increase was incorporated into the budget.
So there is a 4% increase that already appears in these numbers.
Correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, could I address that as well? Just in the interest of full disclosure, Director Street's absolutely correct that as it related to the base wages, that 2.5% for 2025, and then I believe it's the 4% for 2026. That's what was incorporated into and baked within the budget planning for those respective years. There are some discrepancies, and I just want to be transparent about that. There are some additional changes that are incorporated within the contract that have, or that aren't without a fiscal impact. We adjusted the difference between certain ranks. And those things, you know, despite best efforts, we can't plan for everything that's going to result from the year-long negotiations. We make every effort to, but I just want to be fully transparent that while the base wages are accurately reflected from what was budgeted in 2025 and 2026, we couldn't necessarily capture every fiscal impact despite those best efforts. And so there is going to be some level of discrepancy beyond those wages.
With that, if I may, one more, if that being the case, then I guess my response would be, okay, we understand that, but then there should be a way in which we can understand exactly what that impact's going to be for the potential to offset those costs in other areas if necessary.
I'm not sure if somebody from finance is here, but I believe
No.
that the fiscal note reflects, you know, some of those costs as well.
But I do believe it is somewhat of an estimate because we can't predict the exact amount of overtime, for example, or, you know, there's changes to how much deputies will be paid if they come in on a holiday. And so that would be, you know, a situation occurs on the holiday and they get called in. So there are some factors that we can't account for exactly. So
I think I've said in my previous comments about this, I fully understand the unexpected will happen. It will happen. However, we still have history that tells us roughly what we should anticipate. And so when the budgets were completed, I would have assumed that those were the types of things that were being taken into consideration, to and including, by the way, this contract, which we already had a sense of what the numbers were going to be. Because if someone says that these potential one-off scenarios of additional costs is going to be a dollar amount of X, well, then I think being fiscally responsible, we'd want to take a look at, all right, is there a way in which we can help offset that increase to try to help maintain our total numbers? Because otherwise we end up at the end of the year overspending a budget and dipping into a reserve account to try to offset it. So that's why I'm just being very targeted on it, not being critical, just trying to better understand how this all got approved and, or for that matter, what can be done in the event we have to spend more because of a circumstance. That's all.
Supervisor Spencer?
Yeah, I just want to congratulate you on coming to an agreement. It takes a year, it's a lot of work, and I'm glad that you can see eye to eye on this.
So I have a question here on the fiscal note, and it kind of relates back to the wage increase of 4%, but then with the fringes added in, it's 5.1. Now, I know some of the fringes probably went up, like state retirement. Took a pretty hefty jump this year for law enforcement. So is that 5.1 part of retirement, and what else goes into making it going from 4% the actual wage increase to an average increase? And did we budget the average increase at 4% in the budget, or is it closer to the 5.1%?
Without somebody here from finance, I can't answer that specific question.
Okay.
I mean, I think they did their best estimate that they could. And you are right, some of the fringe rates did go up. Our workers' comp fringe rate went up. There were some other that did go up.
Right. And that,
Yeah.
and that, some of the fringes that we increased the amount, you know, those are in the budget. Some of it, you know, and some of it, like retirement, we know about soon enough to put it in the budget. I'm just, you know, and then I guess the second question I have is, where do we go from here? Is this what we're gonna see? The final contract doesn't have to come back to us, or?
No, I believe we would
This was-
obtain
this-
signatures and then we would get it up online as our new contract, and the deputies would get their retro payments. The payroll department would start working on all those calculations going back to 2025.
So this is the final step for the county board.
Correct.
For this organization, there's still the command staff, which is a separate bargaining unit.
Right.
But for the deputies association, yes.
Supervisor Wish.
Thank you. I'd be remiss in not congratulating you guys, but also not in passing along one of my constituents who's a deputy. It's thanks for the board for the work that they did and the increase in the wage. It's much appreciated.
Any further questions or comments? Supervisor Rossi.
Thank you, Chairman. Director Street, question for you. This amount, the total cost, so for 2025, 15,700,000 and so on, that, how much of that is general levy? I mean, I know it's substantially paid for by the general levy, but could you get close to a guess right now? 70%, 90%, 100?
Yeah, that's not reflected on the fiscal note? You're saying?
Unless I'm
No.
Right.
guessing.
Did you hear the question, Michael?
I mean, I know that the fiscal note notes the projected assumption of 136 FTEs.
No, he's,
Yeah, it's just a matter of where's it, you know, is this fully funded by the general levy or are there other funding sources that cover this?
I can, just based on my limited understanding, that the deputies' salaries are by and large, if not exclusively covered by the levy, but I can't vouch for that. It's a finance.
And I wouldn't hold you to it. Thank you. That's generally my understanding as well. And the second part of this question then is, you know, in 2028, we're looking at 8%. The general levy prior to last year's budget would raise anywhere between, you know, in the last 5 years, 6 years, 700,000 to 1.5, maybe 1.8 million. We're looking at between 2027 and 2028, 1.4 million alone in this contract. Is it concerning to you?
I feel like it is what we have to do to remain competitive in this environment. But I agree that is a large sum of money.
Thank you. I just would like to make everyone aware of this. You know, this is a big number. If paid entirely by the general levy, and that's what this appears to be, this alone would be the substantial portion of the general levy in, well, very quickly, definitely in 27 and 28, 2027 and 2028. So just keep that in the memory banks. And I'd like to thank Supervisor Horace, you know, for really calling some attention to this. And you can say you're a broken record. I'd like to be another broken record right alongside you with these items. I just want everyone to be aware, you know, we're making some commitments and, you know, things are already tight. Thank you.
When the contract was brought to the Finance and HR Committee, one of the questions that was asked was just about how we compare to Kenosha County with this contract. And I just, for our top step deputy in Kenosha County, they are paid 7 cents less. So this really is in line with where we need to be. So at the end of the contract, I should buy.
Kenosha County has contracts out to 2028.
Yes.
Okay. Any further questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Supervisor Coleman.
All have voted. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 12, reconsiderations of resolutions and ordinances from previous meetings and or actions on vetoes.
There are no items.
Item number 13, reconsideration and or notices of intent to reconsider resolutions or ordinances.
There is no notice.
Item number 14, informational reports.
Report number 2025-56 by Finance and Human Resources Committee announcing the distribution of sales and use tax revenue for December 2025.
Item number 15, miscellaneous businesses, announcements, and or reports. I just want to remind everybody if they have any expense reports from 2025, see if you can get them to me by the next meeting, because then the time runs out from closing the books on 2025. That's a request by any other. Supervisor Horth.
Yes, very quickly, everybody should have a brochure on your desk regarding the winter workshop by the Watershed Protection Committee. There will be a winter seminar that's going to be held at the Cotton Exchange in Waterford on February the 6th. Again, wanted to make everyone aware of this. This is all part of not only, of course, Watershed, but it's entirely quite a bit regarding the land, the farmers. It tends to be a pretty good event attended by anywhere from 100 to 120 people. So we certainly wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that. And both Supervisor Spencer and myself sit on this committee, and we'd be remiss if we didn't try to encourage. Thank you.
Supervisor Spencer.
And on that note, before you leave this evening, upstairs, you can vote on Racine County Land and Water Conservation Committee's conservation poster contest. There's voting sheets up there. They've grades 4 through 6 category and a 7 through 9 category. They were asked to create a poster on soil, where it all begins. So there's sheets up there explaining what to do, and there's voting sheets, and just put your sheet at the end of the line. So there's pencils too. So that's a cool thing, and it's kind of fun, and the artwork is amazing.
World Traveler Supervisor Trottier.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to bring to everybody's attention, I believe an email was sent out about the future of youth justice, the magazine that is WCA sends out. And please get a hold of your elected official and support the mission behind the new Youth Justice Center that we have on 3 Mile in Douglas. And also get a hold of WCA and let them know you're in support of it, please. Thank you.
Any further? Supervisor Caprellian.
Thank you. So we have some exciting news. Racine Community Health Center and Outreach Community Health Center have partnered, and we are opening up an FQHC, a federally qualified community health center. It is on the Ascensions campus. So if you know where the emergency room is on the Ascensions campus on Spring Street, it is right across the drive from there. What is fantastic about this and for your constituents is it's access to quality health care for those who are underinsured or not insured. Not to say if you are insured, you can't go there, but to have good quality access to health care is extremely important, extremely needed in our Racine community. So it's a great partnership. Ascension or Outreach Community Health Center based in Milwaukee who has partnered with us. They have a great reputation as an FQHC and especially focused on those experiencing homelessness. So keep that in mind as you're out in the community and people who may need access to healthcare who don't have insurance, who are underinsured. So there is going to be a soft grand opening and would love to invite you to it. That is Wednesday, January 21st and from 12:30 to 1:30. So meet over, if you'll see it if you haven't got the press release, but just right by the emergency room, you'll see it right across the way. And now for government services, as we did not have a meeting, but I need you to be aware next Wednesday, all applications are due this week, I believe, this week or next week. but you will have to do some scoring. And so please, please, please pay attention to your emails. Take a look at the applications. 50 kids got nominated, so thank you all to who have nominated those youth. Fantastic. It doesn't mean the youth will submit an application, but you will have a handful. Those scores will have to be in the day before our next meeting for government services. So the deadline is February 4th, and I think we meet on the 5th. So please take a look at your emails and get those in. And thank you all who supported the program and nominated those youth.
Any further questions? Thank you, Supervisor Shakur. We are adjourned.